Chosen one. The message being examined here is not framed as fear, urgency, or spectacle, but as an invitation to reassess perception. At its core, it presents a claim that much of what appears stable, supportive, or trustworthy in the external world may not be as authentic as it seems. Rather than asserting a single conspiracy or naming specific actors, the message points toward a broader pattern of constructed narratives, social conditioning, and subtle influence that shapes how people think, choose, and believe. The central idea is that many individuals move through life assuming that what is visible is also genuine. Opportunities are taken at face value. Relationships are trusted based on surface behavior, and belief systems are often inherited rather than examined. According to this perspective, such assumptions can leave a person vulnerable, not necessarily to dramatic betrayal, but to gradual misalignment with their own discernment and values. This warning does not suggest that every situation is deceptive or that trust itself is a mistake. Instead, it emphasizes that unexamined trust can become a liability. Past experiences where expectations failed, promises dissolved, or environments shifted unexpectedly are reframed not as random misfortune, but as developmental moments. These moments are presented as training, events that refined awareness and prepared the individual to recognize inconsistencies earlier rather than later. A recurring theme is timing. The idea is not that danger is constant, but that there are specific periods when attentiveness matters more than usual. During such periods, small decisions can have disproportionate consequences, not because of supernatural punishment, but because choices made under distraction or assumption often reinforce patterns that take significant time to undo. From a practical standpoint, the message encourages observation over reaction. Many people move quickly from information to action without allowing space for reflection. This tendency is reinforced by modern environments that reward speed, visibility, and conformity. The narrative suggests that slowing down mentally rather than physically creates space for discernment. In that space, inconsistencies become visible, motivations become clearer, and choices become more intentional. The idea of deception here is not limited to interpersonal relationships. It extends to systems, beliefs, and definitions of success. Concepts such as freedom, wealth, and even spirituality are described as frequently distorted. Freedom is often presented as unlimited choice, yet many choices lead to dependency rather than autonomy. Wealth is marketed as security, yet can produce anxiety, comparison, and constant pressure to maintain status. Belief systems may offer comfort, but discourage questioning, replacing understanding with repetition. The message argues that these distortions persist because they are subtle. They do not feel oppressive. In fact, they often feel reassuring. This is what makes them effective. When comfort replaces inquiry, awareness diminishes gradually rather than abruptly. Over time, individuals may find themselves living lives that appear functional but feel disconnected internally. This perspective also challenges the idea that obedience or faith requires passivity. Instead, it frames vigilance as an active form of alignment. Obedience, in this sense, is not blind agreement but conscious attention. It involves monitoring what enters the mind, questioning narratives that demand conformity, and recognizing when internal signals indicate misalignment. One important distinction made is between knowledge and discernment. Knowledge can be accumulated quickly and shared easily. Discernment develops slowly and cannot be borrowed. It arises from experience, reflection, and internal honesty. A person may be well-informed yet still guided by borrowed opinions. Discernment requires the willingness to pause, assess, and sometimes stand apart from majority consensus. The message also addresses the idea of a single wrong choice. This is not presented as moral failure, but as unconscious surrender. The concern is not one isolated action, but a pattern of choosing comfort, approval, noise over clarity. Such patterns can dull sensitivity over time, making it harder to recognize when something is mislead. In this framework, awareness is described as fragile but recoverable. It can be dimmed by habit, distraction, and conformity, yet it can also be strengthened through intentional choices. Small actions, such as questioning assumptions, setting boundaries, or declining opportunities that feel misaligned, are portrayed as protective rather than limiting. The message also touches on the idea of collective unease. Many people sense that something in their environment feels unstable or inauthentic, even if they cannot articulate why. Rather than dismissing this feeling as anxiety, the narrative suggests viewing it as informational. It may indicate that commonly accepted narratives no longer align with lived experience. Importantly, this perspective does not promote isolation or rejection of society. It encourages internal independence rather than external withdrawal. One can participate in systems while remaining aware of their limitations. One can maintain relationships while recognizing where influence ends and personal responsibility begins. Another key point is the danger of living according to scripts written by others. Cultural expectations, educational pathways, and social norms often define what success should look like. When these scripts are followed without examination, individuals may achieve milestones, yet feel disconnected from meaning. The message reframes destiny not as a predetermined path, but as an outcome shaped by awareness and choice. Calmness is emphasized repeatedly. Panic is portrayed as counterproductive because it narrows perception and amplifies external influence. Calm observation, on the other hand, allows patterns to emerge. It creates distance between stimulus and response, which is where discernment operates. The narrative also reassures that distraction does not equal failure. Losing focus, adopting borrowed beliefs, or delaying alignment is presented as common rather than fatal. Awareness can be restored. Timing can be recalibrated. The key requirement is recognition, not perfection. Connection to the divine, in this context, is framed as clarity rather than control. A genuine spiritual connection is described as empowering, not coercive. It enhances responsibility rather than removing it. When spirituality is used to induce fear or dependency, it becomes another form of distortion rather than guidance. Separation is introduced not as physical withdrawal, but as internal differentiation. As awareness increases, certain environments, habits, or relationships may feel less compatible. This is described as a natural adjustment rather than rejection. Letting go creates space for alignment, not emptiness. Silence is presented as a practical tool rather than a mystical concept. Reducing noise, external and internal, allows intuition and discernment to function more clearly. Constant input leaves little room for evaluation. Silence restores balance. Comfort is identified as one of the most underestimated risks. While discomfort is often associated with danger, excessive comfort can prevent growth. When ease becomes the primary metric for decision-making, long-term consequences are overlooked. The message encourages distinguishing between peace, which supports alignment, and comfort, which may reinforce stagnation. The emphasis throughout is on deliberate pacing. Rushed decisions tend to rely on surface information and emotional impulse. Slower decisions incorporate reflection and internal feedback. This is not indecision, but precision. The first part of this narrative establishes the foundation: awareness as protection, discernment as discipline, and calm observation as strategy. It reframes past experiences, challenges common assumptions, and introduces the idea that not everything presented as beneficial is aligned with long-term clarity. Chosen one. Having established the foundation of awareness, discernment, and calm observation, the discussion now moves toward application. Awareness without application remains theoretical. It may feel reassuring, but it does not alter outcomes. Part 2 focuses on how these principles operate in real situations, particularly during moments that appear beneficial on the surface but carry long-term consequences beneath. One of the most critical areas where discernment is tested is opportunity. Opportunities are rarely neutral. They carry direction. Some expand alignment, while others merely amplify distraction. The challenge is that misaligned opportunities often arrive dressed as solutions. They promise relief, speed, recognition, or validation. Because they appear helpful, they bypass scrutiny. This is where many individuals lose clarity, not through obvious mistakes, but through reasonable decisions made without full evaluation. The message here is not to reject opportunity, but to examine its cost. Every opportunity demands something in return: time, energy, attention, or values. Discernment asks whether that exchange strengthens or fragments alignment. A common misconception is that intuition should always feel dramatic or urgent. In reality, intuition often communicates quietly. It appears as hesitation without fear, as unease without explanation, or as a subtle sense that timing is off. Many people override this signal because it lacks logical justification. However, intuition is not opposed to logic. It simply operates on a different data set. The narrative emphasizes that ignoring intuition does not immediately produce negative outcomes. In fact, short-term results may appear positive. This delay is what makes misalignment dangerous. Consequences unfold gradually, often surfacing when reversal becomes costly. Recognizing this pattern is a key step in refining discernment. Another area explored is guidance. Guidance can come from mentors, institutions, belief systems, or internal conviction. The warning is not against guidance itself, but against surrendering responsibility. When guidance discourages questioning, it becomes control rather than support. Healthy guidance strengthens discernment. Unhealthy guidance replaces it. This distinction is especially important in spiritual contexts. True spiritual alignment does not demand fear-based obedience or constant dependence. It encourages maturity, accountability, and clarity. When spirituality is framed as something that must be accessed exclusively through external authority, it shifts from empowerment to limitation. The concept of false reassurance is also addressed. False reassurance feels calming, but requires inaction. It discourages evaluation by promising that everything will resolve on its own. While patience is valuable, passivity disguised as faith often leads to stagnation. Discernment differentiates between trust and avoidance. Realignment is another major theme in this section. Realignment often begins with discomfort. As awareness increases, previously acceptable situations begin to feel restrictive. This does not mean those situations were wrong at the time. It means the individual has outgrown them. Growth changes compatibility. This shift frequently results in loss, not always of people, but of identity structures. Roles once relied upon may no longer fit. Titles, routines, or social positioning may lose relevance. This loss can feel destabilizing, but it also creates space for authenticity. Importantly, the message reframes loss as recalibration rather than punishment. Removal is not portrayed as abandonment, but as correction. When something no longer aligns, its absence prevents stagnation. Understanding this reframes grief into adjustment rather than failure. Another practical element discussed is pattern recognition. Discernment sharpens when patterns are acknowledged rather than dismissed. Repeated experiences of similar disappointment, conflict, or confusion often indicate an underlying choice pattern. Reflection reveals where adjustment is required. Pattern recognition requires honesty without self-condemnation. Blame obscures clarity. Responsibility restores it. Responsibility allows change because it identifies where choice exists. The narrative also addresses urgency. Many misaligned decisions are made under perceived urgency. The belief that delay equals loss pressures action without evaluation. In reality, alignment rarely requires panic. What is truly aligned remains available long enough for confirmation. Silence reappears here as a strategy. Silence creates distance from external pressure. It allows internal signals to surface. Constant noise opinions, advice, commentary can drown out discernment. Choosing silence is not withdrawal. It is recalibration. Another aspect explored is identity attachment. People often cling to versions of themselves that once provided safety or recognition. Letting go of these identities can feel like erasure. However, identity is meant to evolve. When identity becomes fixed, growth becomes threatening. The message emphasizes that alignment does not guarantee comfort. It guarantees coherence. Coherence reduces internal conflict, even when circumstances are challenging. Comfort without coherence leads to fragmentation. Relationships are examined through this lens as well. Alignment may change relational dynamics. Boundaries become clearer. Tolerance for dysfunction decreases. This may be perceived externally as distance, but internally it is stabilization. It is noted that not everyone will understand these changes. Explanation is not always necessary. Over-explaining often weakens boundaries. Discernment includes knowing when clarity must be shared and when it must simply be lived. The concept of waiting is reframed again. Waiting is not inactivity. It is observation combined with preparation. During waiting periods, internal alignment is refined so that when action is required, it is precise rather than reactive. The narrative also challenges the belief that clarity must eliminate doubt. Doubt is not the absence of alignment. It is part of evaluation. The goal is not certainty, but sufficient clarity to act responsibly. Another key point is consistency. Growth is not validated by isolated moments of insight, but by repeated aligned choices. Consistency builds stability. Stability supports expansion. The message cautions against measuring progress by external validation. External validation fluctuates. Internal coherence accumulates. When decisions are guided by validation, alignment becomes conditional. When guided by coherence, alignment becomes sustainable. It also highlights the importance of rest. Rest is not disengagement. It is maintenance. Discernment weakens under exhaustion. Rest restores perspective. Toward the end of Part 2, the narrative reinforces that awareness is not meant to create fear or superiority. It is meant to create responsibility. Responsibility is the ability to respond intentionally rather than impulsively. Chosen one, this phase is not about proving understanding. It is about practicing it quietly. Alignment does not announce itself. It reveals itself over time through stability, clarity, and reduced internal conflict. Part 2 concludes by emphasizing that realignment is ongoing. There is no final state of awareness. There is only continued attentiveness. With that attentiveness, direction becomes clearer, not because every answer is known, but because response is grounded. This sets the stage for the final section, which will focus on integration, commitment, and sustained clarity without urgency or pressure. Chosen one, the final phase of this discussion is not about revelation, warning, or preparation. It is about integration. Everything explored so far, awareness, discernment, patience, responsibility, only becomes meaningful when it is integrated into daily life. Integration is where understanding stops being theoretical and starts shaping behavior quietly, consistently, and without performance. Integration begins with acceptance. Acceptance does not mean agreement with everything that has happened, nor does it mean approval of loss, delay, or discomfort. It means recognizing reality as it is, not as it was expected to be. Resistance to reality consumes energy without producing clarity. Acceptance restores that energy and redirects it toward adjustment. At this stage, the most important shift is internal. External circumstances may not change immediately. Some may not change at all. Integration allows you to remain steady regardless. Stability no longer depends on outcomes, reactions, or validation. It is built internally through coherence between values, choices, and behavior. One of the clearest signs of integration is reduced urgency. Earlier phases often felt intense. Decisions felt heavy. The need to act, fix, or escape felt constant. Integration softens this pressure, not because nothing matters anymore, but because clarity replaces panic. When direction is grounded, urgency becomes selective rather than constant. Another sign of integration is simplicity. Complexity often comes from misalignment, too many obligations, conflicting priorities, and borrowed expectations. As integration deepens, unnecessary complexity falls away. Choices become simpler, not because life is easy, but because discernment is filtered what no longer belongs. Integration also reshapes how you relate to uncertainty. Uncertainty no longer feels like a personal failure or a threat that must be eliminated immediately. It becomes a condition that can be navigated. You trust your ability to respond when clarity emerges rather than forcing premature decisions. This phase requires commitment, but not dramatic declarations. Commitment here is quiet. It shows up in consistent boundaries, honest self-assessment, and deliberate pacing. It shows up in what you decline as much as what you accept. Declining misaligned paths is not loss. It is precision. Another essential element of integration is accountability. Accountability does not mean self-criticism. It means recognizing where your choices shape outcomes. This recognition restores agency. When you know where influence exists, you stop wasting energy on what cannot be controlled. Integration also involves recalibrating expectations. Growth does not eliminate challenge. It changes how challenge is met. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening again?" the question becomes, "What adjustment is required now?" This shift prevents stagnation and resentment. There is also a deeper relationship with patience in this phase. Patience is no longer endurance. It is strategy. You wait because waiting preserves alignment, not because you are unsure or fearful. You act when action is clear, not because of pressure. Relationships continue to evolve during integration. Some stabilize, some fade naturally, some deepen through honesty and mutual respect. Integration does not isolate you, but it does refine connection. You no longer invest energy where alignment is consistently absent. An important part of this phase is releasing the need to be understood by everyone. Explanation often becomes unnecessary. Those aligned with your direction recognize it through consistency rather than justification. Seeking constant understanding from others drains energy that could support growth. Integration also strengthens discernment around identity. You no longer rely on roles, labels, or narratives to define your worth. Identity becomes flexible rather than fragile. This flexibility allows growth without fear of losing self. There is also a shift in how you measure progress. Progress is no longer defined by speed or visibility. It is measured by stability, clarity, and reduced internal conflict. These metrics are less dramatic but far more reliable. Rest becomes non-negotiable in this phase, not as escape, but as maintenance. Discernment requires clarity, and clarity weakens under exhaustion. Rest protects perspective. It allows integration to deepen rather than fragment. Integration also demands honesty about limits. Limits are not weaknesses. They are structural supports. Knowing where your capacity ends allows sustainable growth. Ignoring limits leads to burnout and misalignment. Another subtle change is how you respond to setbacks. Setbacks no longer dismantle direction. They inform adjustment. Instead of questioning the entire path, you refine approach. This resilience is not emotional numbness. It is grounded confidence. Confidence here is not arrogance. It is familiarity with yourself. You know how you respond under pressure. You know your tendencies. This self-knowledge reduces surprise and reaction. The final phase also reframes purpose. Purpose is no longer a distant destination. It becomes present alignment. You fulfill purpose through consistent, intentional choices rather than waiting for a defining moment. Integration is ongoing. It does not conclude with certainty or final answers. It continues through attentiveness. You remain responsive rather than rigid. This flexibility protects alignment over time. There may still be moments of doubt, fatigue, or confusion. These moments do not erase progress. They signal the need for recalibration. Integration allows recalibration without collapse. Chosen one, this phase is quieter than the earlier ones. It does not demand announcement or validation. It unfolds through daily decisions, boundaries held, and patterns adjusted. Others may not notice immediately. That does not reduce its significance. What matters now is not intensity, urgency, or proof. What matters is consistency. Consistency compounds. It builds stability that does not depend on circumstances. You are no longer preparing to become aligned. You are practicing alignment. That distinction changes how you move forward. There is no requirement to rush, prove, or perform. Integration is sufficient. From this place, expansion becomes natural rather than forced. This is not an ending. It is a settled beginning. Chosen one. This call to action is not an instruction to act immediately, nor is it a demand for commitment made under pressure. It is an invitation to move forward deliberately, with awareness and responsibility. Action taken without clarity repeats old patterns. Action taken with intention builds sustainable direction. This moment is about choosing the latter. The first action is internal. Before changing anything externally, pause and confirm alignment. Ask yourself whether your current direction reflects what you now understand. This does not require perfection or certainty. It requires honesty. If there is a gap between understanding and behavior, that gap is the starting point. Addressing it is more effective than seeking new information. Begin by simplifying. Complexity often hides misalignment. Review your commitments, routines, and priorities. Identify what is essential and what is habitual. Habits that once supported growth may no longer serve the same purpose. Releasing them is not regression. It is refinement. The next action is boundary setting. Boundaries are not defensive walls. They are structural supports. Decide where your time, energy, and attention are best invested. This may require saying no without explanation, disengaging from draining conversations, or limiting exposure to environments that create confusion rather than clarity. Boundaries protect alignment so that progress can continue without constant repair. Another essential action is consistency. Insight without consistency fades. Choose one or two aligned practices and maintain them steadily. These practices do not need to be dramatic. They may include regular reflection, intentional rest, focused work periods, or reduced input from external noise. Small, consistent actions compound more effectively than sporadic intensity. Pay attention to how you consume information. Information shapes perception. Reduce exposure to content that creates urgency, fear, or comparison. Replace it with material that supports clarity, responsibility, and grounded thinking. This adjustment alone can significantly improve discernment. Action also involves patience. Resist the urge to force outcomes. Forcing often comes from anxiety rather than alignment. Trust that what is aligned does not require constant pressure to sustain. When action is necessary, it will feel clear rather than frantic. Another step is self-accountability. Monitor your choices without self-judgment. When you notice misalignment, adjust rather than criticize. Accountability restores agency. Criticism weakens it. The goal is progress, not punishment. Engage intentionally with your environment. Participate where alignment exists. Withdraw where it consistently does not. This does not mean isolating yourself. It means choosing engagement consciously rather than reactively. Conscious participation preserves clarity. Rest is also an action. Fatigue distorts perception. Schedule rest as deliberately as you schedule effort. Rest is not avoidance. It is maintenance. Without it, even well-aligned paths become unsustainable. Another important action is patience with outcomes. Results may not appear immediately. Alignment often produces delayed but stable outcomes. Trust the process rather than measuring success prematurely. Early evaluation often misrepresents long-term direction. If confusion arises, return to silence rather than seeking immediate answers. Silence allows internal signals to recalibrate. Constant input prevents resolution. Silence is not emptiness. It is processing space. You are also invited to release comparison. Comparison introduces external metrics that may not reflect your path. Progress is individual. Measure growth by coherence, stability, and clarity rather than speed or visibility. Action includes discernment in relationships. Invest where mutual respect and alignment exist. Step back where dynamics rely on obligation, guilt, or constant justification. Relationships that support growth feel steady rather than draining. Another step is intentional waiting. Waiting is not inactivity. It is preparation. Use waiting periods to strengthen clarity, refine skills, and stabilize routines. This ensures readiness when opportunity aligns. It is also important to remain flexible. Alignment does not mean rigidity. Be open to adjustment without abandoning direction. Flexibility allows correction without collapse. Commit to learning without dependency. Guidance is valuable, but responsibility remains yours. Use external input to inform, not to replace discernment. This maintains autonomy. A practical action is regular reflection. Schedule time to review choices, patterns, and responses. Reflection prevents drift. It keeps alignment active rather than assumed. Do not underestimate the power of small decisions. Large changes often begin with subtle shifts. Choose the option that preserves clarity, even if it feels less impressive. Precision outperforms performance. If doubt appears, do not rush to eliminate it. Examine it. Doubt often contains information. Use it to refine understanding rather than abandon direction. Another call to action is commitment to integrity. Integrity is alignment between values and behavior. It simplifies decision-making. When integrity guides action, fewer decisions require deliberation. Remain patient with the process. Integration unfolds gradually. There is no final arrival point. There is ongoing adjustment. Accepting this reduces pressure and supports sustainability. Chosen one. This call to action is not about doing more. It is about doing what aligns consistently. It is about protecting clarity, honoring boundaries, and moving forward without urgency. You are not required to announce your direction. You are not required to justify your choices. Quiet consistency is sufficient. From this point, let action be measured, intentional, and grounded. Let alignment guide pace. Let responsibility shape response. This is how understanding becomes lived. Reality. Another essential action is to remain observant of subtle shifts within yourself. Alignment often reveals itself through small internal signals, greater calm in decision-making, reduced emotional reactivity, or a clearer sense of when to engage and when to step back. Do not dismiss these signals because they seem minor. These quiet indicators are evidence that integration is taking root. It is also important to act with discernment in moments of opportunity. Not every open door is meant to be entered immediately. Some opportunities test clarity rather than reward action. Give yourself permission to pause before committing. Deliberate pacing protects you from repeating cycles that once felt necessary, but are no longer aligned. Another practical step is to refine communication. Speak with intention rather than impulse. You do not need to explain every choice or defend every boundary. Clear, minimal communication preserves energy and reduces misunderstanding. Silence, when used intentionally, can be more effective than over-explanation. You are also called to practice self-trust. Self-trust is not blind confidence. It is familiarity with your own patterns, limits, and tendencies. When you trust yourself, you rely less on external validation and more on internal coherence. This trust strengthens with practice, not affirmation. Action also includes forgiveness, particularly self-forgiveness. Holding on to regret for past decisions anchors you to outdated versions of yourself. Acknowledge what was learned, apply the lesson, and release the weight. Progress cannot occur while energy is locked in self-reproach. Another important action is adaptability. Circumstances evolve. Alignment does not mean resisting change. It means adjusting without abandoning values. When conditions shift, reassess rather than react. Adaptability ensures relevance without compromise. Maintain awareness of emotional triggers. Triggers reveal unresolved patterns. Instead of avoiding them, observe them. Observation reduces their control. Over time, triggers lose intensity as understanding replaces reaction. Commit to sustainable growth. Sustainable growth does not exhaust you. If a path requires constant strain, reassess. Alignment supports effort, but it does not consume balance. Balance is not stagnation. It is longevity. Continue to invest in clarity-enhancing habits. Whether through reflection, learning, or structured rest, these habits keep discernment active. Without reinforcement, clarity dulls. With consistency, it sharpens. Chosen one. The final call is simple but demanding. Act in ways that you can maintain. Let each decision reinforce stability rather than chaos. Let progress feel grounded rather than rushed. There is no urgency to arrive. There is responsibility to remain aligned. From this place, every step forward becomes intentional, and that intention is what sustains growth over time.